podcast. And today we're talking about soul ties. You guessed it, ties is soul.
They did not guess that at all. But anyways, this is Amber Cooper. Why did I put my whole name out there? It's your girl Amber. Thank y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna stop right there. Go ahead.
Social too.
Yeah, I mean maybe I got a lot of soul ties connected to me right now that's really preventing me from really showing who I truly am.
Erica Badu doing down here with
No,
this
but
go.
baby girl, baby girl. Oh my God. Get the camera right.
And the one with the technical difficulties is Adania Q Nelson. She is.
That is not my middle initial. Is not Q.
Okay, what
Where
you
did you even get that from?
I don't know where she got that from.
Well,
I don't like having technical difficulties. I'm not happy.
It's okay. You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to start in true fashion with the quote of today. It goes like this. The easier sex gets, the less intimate every sexual act gets. In the Victorian period, a kiss was like a fuck.
oh,
And now, when actual sexual acts become so easy, their intimacy declines and their meaning declines. Stephen Marche.
so in other words, it's bound chicken wow wow.
I love that song by Mike Poshner.
What song?
Down chicka wow wow. What you got? You guys do that?
Okay, so before we get started, we're going to start off with a disclaimer, and I'm going to let Miss Ray take over that part. Just kind of give us a disclaimer of soul ties so we can go ahead and get the show running and going. Boom!
So, you guys, sippers, we are talking about soul ties today, as Amber so eloquently stated in her prior rant. And much in her Kanye-like fashion, I just want to clear up a few things before the legal teams get involved and we're all sued and I can no longer live in my apartment. So basically, in all seriousness, soul ties are not really explicitly mentioned in the Bible, and we just want to make sure that we are giving you all that clear understanding that we did not go in the King James or the NLT and find anything that specifically talked about soul ties. I believe soul ties are a man-made construct that has been popularized, and I think that there are scriptures that could argue it. Just because if you think back to when the Bible details what happens between a man and a woman on their marriage night. He says that they know each other, which is, of course, they're intimate with each other. And then there's a bond that is created from that. The man leaves his family and cleaves to his wife. There are just other scriptures that could possibly, really just set the tone or that understanding that there's something deeper happening. And I also want to say, just on a basic level, I don't think enough people really know that we're not humans having a spiritual experience. We're spirits having a human experience. So what that means, of course we're going to have a deeper connection to some people, some more than others. So, of course I believe that, marriage was meant to be, something permanent, and they didn't go to the courthouse and sign a bunch of paperwork and that's what made them marry. They were intimate with that person that they chose to be with. And because of that, you had to know that something was produced from that. There's nothing ever wasted in the Bible. God does nothing by accident. So therefore, hence and therefore unto, you get soul ties. So we're going to talk about that today and just give our unique perspectives. And we're going to see where this goes, because this is a very loaded topic and there's a lot of different understandings and ideas that are associated with it. So we're just going to see where it takes us today. Back to you, Sharon.
I actually don't like that name.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. If I had a white girl name, it probably wouldn't be Sharon.
You do have a white girl name. It's Amber.
If we talk about what is a soul tie, what is a soul tie to you guys? What does it mean in your own individual lives? Explain that to me in your own perspectives. Now, I'm going to start with Ms. Ray first.
I think Led Zeppelin should go.
Who?
My shirt, Led Zeppelin.
Oh, go ahead.
1992 edition.
Go ahead, Adanya.
I don't buy into it. I think it's all BS. like hard served, raw, fresh bullshit. I feel like a soul tie is like an excuse to continue to deal with what you're dealing with, knowing that it's not a good situation for you. I do agree that people make connections, but I think you make a connection with everybody you meet, whether it's good, bad, deep, surface level, whatever the case. You making some type of connection with every person that you come across in life. So to say that a connection is deeper when you're physically intimate with someone, I don't buy it.
Whoa, hold on. Let me ask you this before we get into. So you say that physical interactions doesn't make two people more deeper than a verbal interaction.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that all physical interactions don't create your definition or your idea of a soul tie. I don't think that people who just like sex addicts, they ain't making soul ties with nobody. They're satisfying an addiction. That's for them.
Soul tie, you don't think?
An addiction is a soul tie?
You can argue that's a type of soul tie.
You can cross that line. I'm impressed. You can cross that line, but I really feel that this whole soul tie idea, I think it's just a fragment of somebody's imagination. It's popular, so now everybody's using it.
Based off your response, to me, it sounds like you attribute a soul tie to something being negative. No,
I don't think that is negative. I think that because I don't think it exists, so I can't really put it in a negative or a positive category because I think it's BS.
But see, I think there are good soul ties, and I think that there are bad soul ties, right? And so because I think that in order, like for me, okay, let me give you my example of what a soul tie is. I believe that it's just this spiritual connection that you gain from someone, usually, and it becomes more intense as you are involved in a physical interaction. So I think that yes, when you meet people, there are such things as chemistry and bonding with people. I tell people this all the time. There are billions of people in this world. Like you can meet millions of people and have some sort of chemistry with, right? But I think it becomes a little bit more deeper or a little bit more over your life, if you will, once you become physical and establish a deeper bond, which in turn creates what we call a soul tie. Okay. And I also believe that there are good soul ties and there could be bad soul ties. Of course, we're going to get into both of those things as the show move forward. But one can argue that having a relationship with God is a soul tie.
So what I'm understanding is that you guys are basically
Miss Ray ain't talking. That's me speaking.
No, because she's basically explained the same thing in her 20-minute memoir earlier. So what I'm understanding y'all to say is that y'all believe soul ties are very, very equivalent to some level of spirituality.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, me personally. So for example, I've been in friendships, relationships, where, well, let me not say friendship because I ain't been physical with any of my friends. So let me just go and scoot that out there.
I can confirm that.
No, you can't. Let me go ahead and let me make that disclaimer. I've not been involved with any of my friends, okay? But when it pertains to relationships in which I've been physically involved in, once you cross that line, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, you ever talk to somebody and they might be having depression or whatever going on in their life, and then once you start entertaining that energy, it kind of starts meddling into your own life?
That's just energy.
That's soul tie.
I don't agree. I don't understand how y'all are taking all these other things and putting them into soul tie. That's energy. Anytime you enter into someone's atmosphere, into their space, you are exposing yourself to whatever type of aurora they have going on.
A soul tie. A soul tie.
No.
Yeah. All a soul tie is just an energy. That's all it is. All right, Ms. Ray, come on. You've been quiet a good bit of this conversation too.
Now, we about to go ahead. Go ahead. So what you got to say?
I was just listening because I feel like I can respect both points of view. I think that while Amber is advocating for the existence of soul ties, I hear that Adanya is not so much impressed or swayed in her findings. However, I think both of you all are saying a lot of the same things, because what I'm hearing is there's an exchange of energy. So with a soul tie, the difference between a soul tie and just a casual exchange of energy is that it's just that it's a casual exchange of energy. So I can go and have this relationship or this interaction with either one of you all, and you all genuinely like Miss Ray, y'all want to hang out with me, it's cool, it's hunky-dory, but ain't none of y'all trying to cross that line of the point of no return. I think what Amber's trying to communicate, and not just in a negative sense, but that's where I feel like Adonya's kind of stuck on it's just people taking it and not letting things go that need to be let go of. But here's the difference. You've been in relationships with people, whether you think it's legit or not. You've been in relationship with people, but because they was just quote unquote dicking you down, it was hard for you to walk off from them. You put up with things that you should not have put up with because it was hard for you to walk off from them. It wasn't because you love that person so deeply. Don't fool yourself. It's because what happens between a man and a woman was designed to do just that. Because in the Bible, if we can go there for a second, when he talks about being with a man and being with your husband and being with your wife, that was created to never be destroyed. It was never supposed to be destroyed. So therefore, whenever he said two things that are supposed to be shared between these people, he didn't make it to where it was something that could be easily tampered with. So that's why you still have those residual feelings when you are trying to move beyond somebody. It's not because you don't see the crap that they do. It's because there's a connection there. And whether you acknowledge that as a soul tie or not, that is what's, I think that's a man-made way of saying this is what this is. That's that connection you cannot even see. Because we've all put up with stuff that we ain't had no business put up with.
I think stuff we ain't had no business putting up with is just an insecurity in itself. Just being so used and comfortable in a certain situation that you're afraid to walk away. Now, I do want to revisit your Bible comment and how what a man and a woman create is not easily broken. That's because it's supposed to be a 3-strand combination there.
Exactly.
That is what marriage is a man, woman, and God. That has
exactly. So why wouldn't you think there's nothing, like you just said, holding those things together?
That's just spirituality in itself. Spirituality and soul ties is not the same thing. Y'all are not.
Why would you not say that though? Because what you're doing is you're dividing the two. You're saying I can only exist on this plane if I adhere to this or if I adhere to this. But you're on one side of your conversation. You're saying you're acknowledging the fact that a soul tie is a spiritual bond. You are saying that it's an energy. You can't grab it out the air. You gotta say, oh, there it is. There that energy I was looking at. So at the end of the day, whenever you get through with your whole conversation, you are essentially saying that there is something that exists that we can't see, we can't touch it, we can't smell it, we can't do it. Exactly. So why would you? So my question is, why would you not think that if there's an energy just between mere friends, let's just play there. If there's a mere, why would you not think that there was something stronger in the works for people that are supposed to be more than friends? That's almost crazy to believe.
I'm not saying that there's
no. Go back upstairs.
I'm saying this is not this soul tie that man has created. It's a simple level or range or degree of energy. That's all energy to me.
I think we should just like, okay. I mean, because I don't know, because you're gonna have you're one of those types of humans. You're gonna have a response regardless of what I say. But I think what you're missing out on is you're looking at it from your lens, and which is what we're supposed to do in some regards. But I think you're saying, well, if I could do these things, if I walk away from those situations, then apparently it's not something that exists. Because I've been in situations where I should have felt this way, or I could have did those things, but I chose differently. And because I was able to overcome that thing, then this can't be a thing. But that's
what I was about to ask. Like, me personally, have you guys ever been in a situation to where, like, you knew you weren't supposed to be there? Like, there was something going on in a relationship or whatever the situation is where you knew, I am not supposed to be in this specific place, but there is something that is preventing me from walking out right now.
Fear of the unknown. Simple. You get comfortable in a situation that you probably shouldn't have got into to begin with, but you've been so comfortable just stepping outside of that box. It's uncomfortable.
So then, is it fair for me to ask you, have you really ever been in love then?
No, I haven't. I know that.
Well then, shit, we can't have a conversation with you. Until you have truly put aside logic and decided to say,
selflessly give yourself.
I'm going to give all my power away to this person, knowing that they can do anything and everything to me with it. You can't. You've got a level of restraint that you can't even discuss, because you've never been in that vulnerable situation. You've never been in a place to where you were not.
I will never be that vulnerable. The devil is a lie.
So is it safe to even ask you this question of, do you even want to be fully in love? Oh, your baby screaming? Okay.
Let's talk about it though. Okay, so just to give her some time. I want to be in love many, many times over, because I have been in love before, and I've been in love with the wrong person, and I've been in love with somebody that it wasn't just a negative ending to it. And with all that being said, I would be in love if I knew it was going to end bad time after time after time, because being in love is a beautiful feeling. It is something that to die without experiencing, it makes me sad to think about somebody that could leave this plane of existence without truly experiencing that type of feeling that makes you just feel like nothing else in the world matters. I used to have a shit job at Red Lobster.
Shout out
to Red Lobster.
Come on, August.
And no, I'm just serious. Like, I used to have this little shit job at Red Lobster, and I had this one guy that I was dating while I was there. And, well, I thought I was gonna marry him. Yeah, it was terrible. Mm-hmm. So, but I remember I would walk through that. If you ever been to Red Lobster, you don't smell nothing but seafood when you in there. But I could smell his cologne, like plain as day. I could just smell it. And it would just brighten my whole existence to just know that he was just there at home. Like, when I get off work, we would be able to hang out or do whatever it is that we had planned to do. And it was just the idea of knowing that somebody had my back unequivocally. I didn't have to do nothing for it. I didn't have to ask for it. It was just there. It was just a feeling I would never want to part with. Like, even if the Lord told me every relationship you get in, you're going to love them, they're going to love you, y'all going to be in love, but it's going to come to an end, I would still do it. I would still do it, because being in love to me is worth it. It's just a beautiful feeling. I just wouldn't. It's just the one thing in life that gets us that one extra step closer to God. And I'm not even talking about on a physical,
right?
Like, I'm not even talking about just sex. I mean, because it was plenty of times where that wasn't even the topic of conversation. It was just sharing that space with that person and breathing the same air and just living in their arms, and I wouldn't part with it. I would do it again and again and again.
I know you probably was kind of in and out of the conversation, but the whole time Ms. Ray was talking, I was literally looking at her facial expressions, everything that was kind of transpiring, her own mood. Like, that's a soul tie. The fact that
is just a passionate person.
No, you gonna let me finish. I'm about to mute her ass, because she let me finish my thought. But it's a whole soul tie, because, like, for that moment, whether she probably want to admit it or not, but for that moment of her speaking about that relationship, like, she was in it just for that very moment. It probably lasted about 10 seconds where she was just
I'm back in love.
You feel back in love for that 10 seconds, right? That is a soul tie. That is evidence based.
Let's work it out. But you just gotta know what to do with it. And I mean, we're gonna talk about that in a minute, but yeah.
I mean, because I've been in situations like I've been in love 1,000%. And like once you fully give yourself to somebody, like Miss Ray said, just giving, basically like falling in love is literally giving somebody your heart, and expecting them not to break it. You get what I'm saying? Like
I don't have that much trust in humanity. I would never.
Diane, can I talk? Can I talk? That is what being truly in love with someone is. That's even can go back to your relationship with God. Like you're not gonna not, if you're a Christian and a firm believer of Him, you're not gonna just not give. You're not gonna give half of yourself to Him. You know, you're gonna give your 100% to Him, because that is also, and me personally, this is what I believe. I believe a relationship with God is also a form of soul ties.
It's an extension of what your relationship between, you know, for us, whomever we decide to be with, it's an extension of that. You are seeking that perfection when you're dating someone. Like I said, it's not even about the sexual aspect. The sexual, when you really love somebody, the sex becomes so secondary. Like it's a plus. It's an addition to. It's not a requirement. You see a lot of, and I just want to go back to the point where you said, you know, people are using it for a crutch. I think people very much so are saying, you know, oh, I got a soul tie with this person. We deeply in love. Even if you get away from just calling it a soul tie, you know, I'm just mad in love with this person. I can't be without this person. I don't know what it is. Or because it presents itself in other ways. You got people that call them soul ties. You got people that call it voodoo. You got people that call it all types of stuff. Like, but if we could boil it all down, the institution of sex was created to be permanent and long lasting, to solidify that relationship. So when we go about it casually, as the quote stated, of course you got all these things. But listen, let me be very clear. It's like when you have sex with somebody, you pouring something out of your cup, they pour, and it's a whole nother cup being created. So now you got all this crap getting poured into this cup. You don't know what the hell you mixing. You basically drinking a suicide, and then you wonder why. Speaking on mental illnesses, sometimes things like that present itself. And if we ever read that book, Peas in the Parlor, it'll talk about that. But a lot of that stuff is just the physical manifestations of the spiritual being unclean. And just putting yourself in situations to where you're not necessarily in charge of your own reactions, because you've intermingled or entangled with so many different spirits. What we really got to walk out of this conversation understanding and knowing and believing is that if we're going to choose to believe in God, we have to choose also to believe that we were made in His image, which also means that because He is not a physical form, we are spiritual beings. So I think it's really crazy for us not to believe that we exist on a higher plane and that we interact with each other on a higher plane. I can sit here and think about Adanya, and I'm only saying this not in a weird way, but I call her all the time. She's like, I was just thinking about you. That's not happenstance. So if me and her as friends could have that type of bond to where I'll be like, you know, or Amber might need me to call, girl, I'm so glad you called. I really need to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So if we could have that bond as quote unquote friends, why as a husband would not be able to cover my husband? Because as a wife, I need to be able to cover my husband. He needs to be able to cover me.
Okay, because first of all, what you're talking about is just non-existent. People get married because they want a wedding, they want all the symbols and shambles. But the natural aspect of it does not exist anymore.
The natural aspect of it has perverted the idea of what it was supposed to be. But if you were really operating under what all of this was for, and it ain't no judgment because we done all effed up a time or two. But if we were really operating in what we were supposed to operate in, half of the deluded shit that we see in our society today would not exist. We wouldn't have a community of black babies running around here without fathers, and I'm only limiting it to black babies because this is what this show is concerned with. But we wouldn't have a community of black babies and a community of single black moms or just moms in general that are trying to figure life out, because that connection, that bond, you guys don't really understand how much it takes for somebody to say, I'm not going to feed into this. That's where you see this savage culture. Oh, I don't give a fuck. I don't got feelings. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. Yes, you do. I can bet you $1 to anything. We gave every woman in here a truth serum and said, do you just want to be somebody's fuck buddy? I guarantee you the answer would be unequivocally no. Nobody wants to be somebody's option. Everybody wants to be your pick. But the thing is, it makes me look more valuable when I tell you, oh no, I ain't gonna catch no feelings. It's all about the bag for me. I'm gonna get mine, you get yours. We're gonna go do what we got to go do. You know what I'm saying? It makes her look way more appealing than her saying, listen, no, you're not gonna be dragging up in the damn house at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, you're not gonna be out here working, shooting videos 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. No, you're not gonna be riding around and running around, and I got to be okay seeing you being pictured with this girl and that girl. Ain't nobody, he don't want to deal with that. And that goes back to other conversations we had when we don't hold this man accountable to the things that he should be doing. So things like soul ties that were created to create that bond between a man and a woman, they're non-existent because we're not holding them responsible in a lot of respects, not putting the weight on us.
So to answer your question, Amber, do I want to be in love?
Hold on, girl, let me give it a drink.
Like, fully give yourself to someone that has the power to brutally destroy your life, flip it upside down, break it into shambles, and you just still give your all to that. I mean, do you really want to be in love?
Well, when you explain it like that, hell no.
But if we could be honest, I really believe she already been in love.
I think she has been too.
That's a prideful little.
That's what I was about to say.
That's a prideful little leprechaun. She would go outside, as my cousin say, and howl at the damn moon before she let somebody know they didn't hurt her feelings. And I think that pride is what colors a lot of your response.
Some people who don't believe in soul ties don't accept their role in a soul tie as well.
That's a good point.
That is what I'm saying. Because
wait a minute, hold on, because y'all. First of all, y'all act like y'all reading me, and then y'all skipping through the things. So let's cut it out.
You just okay? I don't need to. It just seems like
I read too.
They say love is either the same or even more powerful than cocaine. Like it lights the
love. It has a dopamine. It has that is serious.
And I don't agree that love doesn't have a dopamine. I'm not agreeing with y'all. I'm not saying that it's like the best.
You're not agreeing or you're not disagreeing?
Or I'm not disagreeing. You're right.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying it's the best thing since feed and braids. Like it sounds legit.
Feed and braids has definitely been good too. So let's put that out there.
Are those feed and braids?
These are knotless and they feed their hair in. That's what
so they're technically feed and braids. But I'm not saying, like, I'm not knocking it at all. It sounds awesome.
But let me ask you this question, because we talked about what is a soul tie, right? So Miss Adanya doesn't necessarily agree with with soul tie by man-made definition, and it's okay. And me and Miss Ray kind of have a different perspective. But I do want to ask you guys. I don't know if Adanya can really answer this question, or maybe she can. But how are soul ties then created? If we know what they are, we can agree that between people, even if we don't call it a soul tie, right? We can just say it's an exchange of energy. How is this exchange of energy between those two people now created?
Oh, that's a good one. That's spicy.
Mm-hmm. So what y'all got? Because I
think it's a combination.
Okay.
I think that is a combination. I think that there's that mental aspect, that mental stimulation. Like you can really see yourself having a conversation with this person. Like y'all agree on a lot of things. Y'all are for the most part, let's just say equally yoked, because let's just say you got God, family. Y'all agree on kids. Y'all can, like I'm the type of person you can kidnap me if you tell me a joke. If you can make me laugh, I'm out the door. I'm like, what? Let's go. So, like somebody, for me, if somebody can make me laugh, that's high up on my list. Like I'm attracted to you. And then I love quirky things about people. I like people that are just very, so confident in who they are that it doesn't matter what society deems is cool. I love that. I've always loved that. I've loved, so to me, there's like this list of just mental things that have to happen. And then the sex, if you have sex with this person, sex becomes something that kind of just kind of shoves it over the edge. I think for me, having sex without an emotional attachment to somebody is pointless. I wouldn't get nothing out of it. But it's also, I think that sex could be, stand in lieu of other things. Because I don't know if y'all are very familiar with Girlfriends, but y'all remember when Lynn was, she kind of was this free spirit and she was having sex. She just had sex. It was nothing to her, quote unquote. But when her little husband or fiance was writing her poetry, she was his muse, and somebody was getting married. Tony was getting married.
I thought Lynn was dating a girl. She wasn't.
No, Lynn was dating this dude.
She was dating this guy that was like just as free as her. They were like a really.
But he wasn't having sex. He was celibate.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember his name, but I do remember.
But the way they made love was through his poetry.
Yeah.
And Tony was getting married, and he had wrote them this really beautiful poem, and she had told him, like, no, you cannot do that. Like, that's our thing. And he ended up making some little shaky ass poem. But in that instance, that was their sex. You know what I'm saying? That was their intimacy. So I just think like that intimacy and in couples with, that mental stimulation is what creates a soul tie for me. And I think what glues it together is the sexual, the physical, or the whatever, the intimacy you all share.
Listen, my grandfather was married to his wife, I want to say almost 30 years. And like I would go like see him, and he'd be talking, when of course when they were alive. They ain't talking now because they did. But when they were alive, their relationship was just so beautiful, and you can tell like they were just so intertwined with one another, right? And so like my grandmother ended up passing away before my grandfather did. She passed away in January. We had a funeral and whatnot, and I would go sit and talk to my granddaddy literally every single day.
She
because
would come to my house and eat my ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah, I did. But then I would go see my granddaddy afterwards. I was like, all right, Miss Ray, I gotta go see my granddaddy after I eat all her ice cream sandwiches. But anyway,
pregnant.
But you told me to make myself at home. But and I did it, period. But anyways, I would go see my grandfather, and like he was just like, when people say like they die from a broken heart, like that's like a soul tie on a different level. Like my granddaddy would literally like, he'd say, Amber, I got that change on the table. Go get it for me. And he would literally just start like break down crying because it reminded him of how his wife used to like put the change in a little I don't know what them things called. The little penny holders. What they call?
The little brown wrappers you take to the
little brown wrappers. Yeah, them things right there. Whew, took me there. All right, but he would just literally like cry about it, or it would put him in that, like he could like still almost feel her energy there. But to know that she wasn't there in physical form literally broke his heart. And less than a couple months later, he passed away.
He just said, I'm out.
I'm just out. Like, really and truly.
This shit ain't what it's all cracked up to be.
Because I think he had experienced a spiritual connection that, with the absence of that earthly body, that earthly flesh, he couldn't exist without it. And it was just like, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't worth it.
Me personally, I kind of agree, Ms. Ray. I do think a soul tie, or an exchange of energy, that's what we're going to call it for Adania's sake, an exchange of energy is created when, for me, when I establish a mental connection with someone. I am very vulnerable, so I'm a giver. I give my all to whomever. What'd you say?
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a giver. I wear it on my sleeve. Like I just feel like, I'm gonna leave this earth one day. It ain't gonna do me no good when I die. I'm giving 100% of who I am to the person that I'm with. So like, it's definitely that mental connection, and I do believe sex just
complicates it.
It really, like, for real. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I said this too. I can't have casual sex.
Me neither.
And I cannot lay in bed with somebody who I am not connected with, because I promise you, like, it ain't gonna be good. Because once you get inside this nookie, okay, all right, Okay.
It's like a vault.
Okay,
It's
so
like
I'm definitely
praying mantis. It just closed up on the peak.
okay.
You mine now. Like, hi. So that's why I don't do casual sex, because I know people don't operate with that same mindset. So like men can lay in the bed and hop in and out and it'd be like it's nothing.
But they can't. They just don't care.
Some women too. You know what I'm saying? But I can't give myself to someone sexually, physically, and know that there's no bond connected, because I know I'm gonna feel some type of way.
Okay, I'm not a casual sexer, so let's just make sure we get that out there. I don't just casually have sex with people. I very much so classify myself as a demisexual. There does have to be some type of connection.
There she go with the
start with me. Google your definition so we can go ahead and get this over with.
I'm gonna tell you what demisexual is. Some shit a Donnie made up.
It is not. It is not.
A demisexual is where people only experience sexual attraction to folks that they have close emotional connections with. In other words, they only experience sexual attraction after an emotional bond has been formed.
So I ain't out here just, sharing my magic tricks with anybody. Never looked at someone and found them sexually attractive.
I have. I'm gonna be honest with you. But listen, but in saying that, I still don't have casual sex. Like, I can look at a man and be like, damn, he fine. Or like I may go to a space where it's just like, okay, especially if he wearing some jogging pants, you know what I'm saying? his pecs all right and they all nice. I might be like, for maybe 3 seconds.
No, ain't no judgment. I'm just really trying to
I'm gonna be in that moment. But then, something gonna clean. Like, all right, light switch on. I just can't cross that line. I mean, if you fine. I don't care. You fine.
I mean, I
can find someone physically attractive, but I won't find them sexually attractive. I've never been like, no, I'll have sex with that guy. I've never done that before.
You ain't never be like, oh, I hit that.
No.
I don't think I have either.
Okay.
Amber, you out here bad.
I mean, I'm just saying.
No, but I think if I can be honest, I think a lot of my issue is that I had such a taboo with sex. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not very sexually liberated just openly. I mean, me and my personal person, that's a completely different story. But like me, walk around, talk about sex and, saying stuff and doing stuff. And I'm telling you, I was so out the loop when I lost my virginity. I'm telling you, it was just it was a fluke. I'm not saying that the person I did it with was a fluke, but it was just kind of like, had that not been made, put in my mind, I probably wouldn't have, now I have dated some people to where I'm just like, I probably would have had sex with you without any kind of prompting. As far as us being together already. But I don't think that I'm just as free as I would like to be sexually. I think I'm still like walking into my sexual awakening, if we could, call it.
You almost 40. You better hurry
up. Forget you. Let this not be the episode my folks decide to listen on. But fuck you, Amber. Because I'm not no damn 40. God damn it.
But I say all that to say that, like, maybe I've experienced the same journey as you two, Miss Ray, where I wouldn't say I'm like, I'm very sexually expressive. Like, I can have a conversation about sex because I'm very.
But you ain't just out there like, I like to people.
Oh, no, I don't do that.
You got some people that are really like on their way to where like sex is not taboo to them. Like, they have sex around people, in front of people, beside people. Like, that shit ain't my wave. I ain't never been on that. But like, you got some very sexually liberated people. I can talk about sex with y'all. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna go in a room full of strangers like, yeah, girl, I be giving some good ass head. Let me tell you what I like to do. Like, that just ain't me. It ain't never been me, and I don't think it's gonna be me. But because of the hesitations that I have, I think that it's caused me not to, like, my first thought is never to like look at me and say, oh, I have sex with him, because that's always been considered, if you want to be a respectable woman, you don't talk about shit like that. You don't let that be known, or you don't even allow yourself to entertain the thought, because then there you are, quote unquote, being labeled as something that you're not.
So what is the evidence when you're involved with someone that a soul tie is existing, or an energy, an exchange of, I'm sorry, Diane, an exchange of energy is existing? How, like, what is the evidence of that interaction? Just something we can give our audience. They might be out there listening, like, I wonder if I'm in a soul tie. If you're listening, you are definitely in a soul tie. I don't care what Danya said. You are spiritually connected, because we are all spiritual beings.
Snap the fuck out of it. There is no such thing as no damn soul tie.
And because if you are a spiritual being, all right, and you're a believer of God in Christ, you must understand that you are a spiritual being yourself. So you are definitely interacting with people, and that is a soul tie. Okay, I'm gonna unmute her again. She can unmute on her own. All right, but what? Before we even get into that, what is the difference between a good soul tie and a bad soul tie? Like, what are some signs of each one, vice versa? Let's talk about that.
I mean, that just goes back to your first Corinthians chapter 13, your love handbook. Let me be very clear with the audience. We're not telling y'all to go out here and have sex, or we're not telling you that,
not have sex.
To not have sex. But what we are saying is that when God made this thing for us, it wasn't meant to be casually given away. This is something that you definitely are supposed to guard and protect. Um, and I won't put that hood of you need to be married, because I don't want to be judgmental, because things happen. And it's people that's been together that ain't married, they've been together for 30 years, and people that waited till they was married and they got divorced after 2. But I think that what we have to understand is that when you're in a good soul tie, all those things that are in First Corinthians chapter 13, when we talked about what love is, and how love doesn't keep no account of wrongdoing, it's supposed to bring out the best in you. If you find yourself hurting more than anything, and the only time y'all doing good is when y'all having sex, that's a negative soul tie. That ain't shit you want to do with your time. You need to find something else to do. When you're in a positive so Ty, you feel supported, you feel loved, you don't feel no need to, go and find what you don't get at home somewhere else. Let me be very clear. You can get upset with your spouse, you can get upset with your partner, but that does not mean you go out in the streets and say, I'm gonna go find what I'm lacking out in the streets. No. You feel like, that you can have that person come home and say, look, baby, I'm struggling right now. This is what I'm struggling with. Like Amber was saying about her grandparents. After sex faded, they had a relationship that kept them together. It wasn't because,
I still think my granddaddy was hitting that though.
Probably was, but
maybe not the last year or two or so, but I don't know. I wasn't in there,
But I think the actual bond between those two was what that sex morphed into, that it evolved. So there's definitely levels there. So I think it just evolved into that more mature love, that love that is meant to never fail. And that's what they experienced. And Papa was just like, if my wife can't be here, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Take me out the game, coach. But for real, I feel it like in a relationship or a situation where the only thing that really is keeping your attention or your happiness or whatever the situation is something based off of physical, then it's definitely or materialistic. Then it's definitely something you probably don't want to be in if you're striving for a deeper connection. There are some people out there like who just convince themselves that they don't want it. They savages. They just don't care. Boom, that's the life you want to live. Go live it. But to my people who are really searching for something more meaningful, who are really trying to build a relationship, who are really trying to be in love, Adanya, you need to understand that if your relationship is built off of anything that is material, physical, then it might not be the best soul tie for you. We love hard and we love easy, but it's not a good thing for us to have that trait, it can be a blessing and a curse, because when we meet people who, we do develop that attraction and that connection with, and they're not for us, like we be
That's when you have to you have to. I had to learn a long time ago to stop giving people more responsibility than they can handle. If I mean, because and that came with learning who I was as a person. You can't be a whole steak dinner out here trying to impress somebody that's chicken nuggets. It's not gonna freaking work. And it's not tooting your own horn or being cocky. It's just knowing who you are. And I know I'm the shit. I know I bring a lot to the table. So with that being the case, I can't go out here and find somebody that is impressed by me, enamored by me, and think that I'm shiny and glittery. Because you always see that story, the dude from the not so great, the wrong side of the tracks, he fall in love with the one that's from the right side of the tracks. And he was like, oh, but love should be enough. And no, ma'am, because either one or two things gonna happen. He always gonna feel an insecurity, and you always gonna have to he gonna always try to live up to that, and that's gonna take him off course, and he gonna have to go out here in so and so arms when you make him feel inadequate, or he gonna do other shit that's gonna be less than savory, or you're gonna be brought down if he's not completely secure in himself. So you gotta know who you dealing with, and also know who you are. If you ever read book of the day, it ain't the book of the day, but it's a book. Hind's Feet on High Places. It talks about the story. God talks so much afraid about being the flowers. And he said in front of the mountain, he's like, it's some beautiful flowers. He walked her around the back of the mountain. He said, what's back here? She was like, the same flowers that's in the front. He said, but you know how many people come back here? And she was like, I don't know. He's like, not hardly any. And she was like, okay. And he was like, the point is, I gave it to you to give away. And your job is to, when the right person come along, you still be available to be beautiful. Fuck the rest of that shit. Fuck it. Because you can't nobody take something from you that they didn't give to you. You too big for that. You too big, and you too great, and you too awesome for that. So, I mean, you just got to shift your thinking. I mean, I feel where you're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from, because I used to think the same way. But can't nobody take nothing from you, because it ain't theirs to take.
But Amber out here giving people shit.
You ain't ran out of being Amber yet.
Oh, I know. I'm the
exactly. That's all I need to know.
I'm just hey, I'm still me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say what I was about to say because my mom and daddy listening. But anyways, just know I still got it. All right, but so we talked about what a soul tie is. We talked about how it's created. We talked about some of the good versus the bad. So for those people who are experiencing whatever energies they are experiencing, how do we break those ties if we realize they need to be broken?
Walk the fuck away. It's simple.
Okay, but after you do that, you
focus on yourself. You find your equilibrium again.
Yeah,
it's not that easy though. Like it's not.
It is, Amber. Now I'm sick of that. Nah, y'all been coming for me this entire episode. I'm sick of that sorry ass shit. It's not that easy. Yes, it is. Yes, when you choose yourself first, it is that easy. It really is, because then you are starting to see your own self-worth, and you can keep it moving. It's that simple. At some point, you have to start protecting yourself.
At some
point, choosing to stay in a situation where you have no business being into, you have to remove yourself from that situation. And no, I am not victimizing the victim. I'm not saying that she knew better. She probably didn't. But that's that fear of the unknown that keeps people in these comfortable situations that are shitty.
And that's what we call a soul
tie.
That
is not no damn soul tie.
You don't want to admit it, Adalia. I'm telling you.
It's not.
That is what it is.
That shit,
but look.
If anybody's classifying that as a soul tie, y'all use crutches, and that is not okay. You need to deal with that. That is not okay.
Queen. Call me the crutch queen, because I'm crutching it on. Crutch. Because that, like you said, I agree, Adalia. At some point, you have to know, what is good for you, and should you stay, you have to evaluate yourself in the situation. Like, it's you. You know what I mean? Either I'm going to continue to stay here and let this cycle keep going, or I need to get out. Whatever your choice is your choice. Give yourself grace, honor it. But what I'm saying is that for some people to even get to the point of saying, I need to go this direction or this direction, it takes a long time. Like, it's not like this is, let me just leave this nigga today. Like, it ain't, it ain't like this. Like,
you're saying it ain't, but Amber, it really can be.
It really can be, but let me tell you something though. Like, cause I'm sick of you. Because I don't think.
You said she's sick of you, Adanya.
Because her will is strong. And that's not a bad thing. But you're not thinking that, you're not realizing everybody don't have that same willpower. Everybody don't operate the same way that you operate. So this conversation is not from our point of view per se. But it's more so like these are the things that can actually happen. And it's very possible for somebody to just be like, I don't know how to leave this person. Because you're eliminating the person whose parents both died when she was 2 or 3 years old. She never grew up with anybody to care for her. She grew up raising herself, or he grew up raising himself. And he gets with this person that seemingly takes him from this place of just loneliness and desperation. And then now all of a sudden it turns out to be a horrible person. But I'm still getting something of what I didn't have before. So, I mean, I'm getting to something. Why can't I just get to something and deal with the other stuff I don't really want to deal with at a later date? So I think you're not thinking about it from like the perspective of not everybody is dealt the same deck of cards. Like everybody don't got the same hand. And so with that being the case, we just can't make this blanket statement like, oh, you just need to suck it the fuck up. Because some people, they be feeling like if I take one more L, shit, I might as well just go ahead and check out.
I do need to get this one off. I understand where you're coming from, and I do think of those people. But at some point, we are adults and we make our decisions for ourselves. We can't continue to use our childhood and our misfortune as excuses. Like, that's not okay.
But I think, I don't think that that's what we're advocating. But what we're saying is that process is not just like y'all get into a big fight, y'all broke up, and you just say, tomorrow let's wrap this shit up, I'm out. I think it may take you a couple of months. You are still, whether you want to admit it or not, you still walk out of processes. But it's just the manner in which you're dealing with the walkout process. Yeah. So no, you're not going back and bumping uglies every now and again, or texting like, I miss you, I'm thinking about you. You ain't doing that, but you could be saying, you really are having to actively say, you know what, I'm not going to think about him right now. I'm not going to call him. I'm not going to miss him. I'm going to keep on going. Oh, we used to like this song together, but I'm going to go and turn the channel. You got to really be active and really intentional about ignoring those feelings that some people just be like, I can't do this. I'm going to text you I love you. I'm going to text you I miss you. Because if you leave me, I'm going to text you for a good little week. I miss you too.
I'm going to say, if you be like,
I'm going to text back.
And Miss Ray be like, Amber, you know what? I don't want to talk to you no more. Like, that gonna make me feel like, dang.
She don't call me no way.
She be now. You know what I'm saying? Like, who gonna pick up my FaceTime on the toilet? You get what I'm saying? Like,
we don't know them like that yet. They all know I'm on the toilet talking to you. Y'all see,
and I thought that was our intimate time, but she do that with everybody. I think, good Lord,
she a hoe. She be giving it all out.
Shit toilet hoe. That don't make no damn sense.
She right.
It's the only place I have in life that's mine.
But what I'm saying is, Miss Ray is exactly right, though. Like,
But I'm not saying that I don't process things. I do process things. However, I'm not going to continue to give more of me than someone deserves. You're right. Y'all mean to tell me that y'all are choosing to sit out here and hurt and feel sorry for yourself and throw yourself a pity party while these niggas done moved on with their life? That's what y'all doing? That's where we at?
That's not what we're saying at all.
Nope.
Evil Knievel.
If that's what you got, you missed the whole point.
The wrong damn thing that we say.
The whole point. You missed the whole entire.
I think you're right. At this point, I don't even know if we've been on the same show.
I don't even think we've been on the same phone. Because
no, I'm saying because you're just like, oh, being vulnerable, you just giving the person the.
No, I'm saying when time is
the world upside down and you still gonna love this person. No, I'm gonna try to
you you just know that your life is better off without them. What we're saying is that process of actually moving from actively loving this person to I can love this person, but I can't deal with this person. That is a lot of shit you go through. That is a lot.
You mean to tell me like you could just automatically turn off a switch of not loving somebody? No, like
for one, yes, I can turn off a switch. I'm not gonna repaint nobody. Once they show me they true colors, it is what it is. We ain't vibing. Fuck you. I'm cool. Move on with your life. Ain't no hard feelings. We good. Yo, mama,
never get in a relationship with her. She had me out here fucking shooting up. I ain't lying.
You can't tell me. You can't sit up here and tell me that you can just automatically in a moment stop loving somebody you've been loving for 10 years.
2-3 years.
Yes, I can. Y'all better ask my ex-husband. It was a whole shit.
This show, because right now I'm devastated. I am devastated.
Can we wrap it up? Because
this shit right here got dog. Let me tell you, what's the book of the day? What the book is?
The book of the day is Relationship Goals by Michael Todd.
Show us the cover because I know you got it.
Yeah, I don't have the book actually. It's on my phone.
Oh wow. Okay, never mind.
Because I like audiobooks. Because I like
young people. They don't even value hardback books. And talking about love and soul ties. You don't even got hardback books. Why?
I got hardback books. Because I understand that my life sometimes don't allow me to have a physical hard copy. So when I'm riding in the car and I need to get the word of God, my Bible is an audio version if I need it. I
do like that though. I can ride
I like to ride and listen to it sometimes because I can't have the book in front of me. See, you done passed that soul tie to that baby. Now she ain't gonna know what love is. I just don't even understand what's about to go on. But anyways, this is the book.
But then the thing is, she got two of them.
Right. So you mean to tell me if they sneak out the house when they 14 years old?
She's like, I'm done. They all asses outside.
Just ain't loving them no more. Turn off the switch. You muted. Can't hear you. Yep, that's what I thought. The book of the day is Relationship Goals by Michael Todd. It is a very, 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 very amazing book. It talks about dating, marriage, and sex. It also talks a lot, Adanya, about soul ties. So if you read this book, you probably, will understand that you are definitely living in the midst of soul ties. This world may be a soul tie.
My song for the day is what's her name?
Samantha.
It's Self-Care by what's her name, y'all?
Savannah what? Savannah
Christina.
There we go.
All right. By Savannah Christina. And if y'all want me to sing a little bit,
That's okay. We're going to start off with our takeaways. What are our takeaways? What do we want our audience to gain from this show?
Tip of the day
is put the tip in. I'm playing.
No, don't put the tip in. It's gonna complicate it. I think what I want y'all to
watch. The tip of the day is you don't need a tip.
Yeah, you don't need a tip. I think what I would like for us to walk away with is that we've got to be more honest with what we want out of a relationship before we get ourselves into a relationship. I don't think that soul ties and entering into a sexual relationship with somebody casually is what the majority prefers. I think that there has to be some honest and open conversations, because I'm gonna tell you, most times if you're willing to have that honest and open conversation with somebody, they're willing to have it back with you, or it's somebody out there that wants the same things that you desire. So find that person. Don't just go after Levi over here because he got everything you think you want, and then y'all on two different pages. And one of the things that I always see is we see these YouTube people, and they always post like everything that they got, they house, they cars, and they 6-figure jobs, and they had this little baby, and they had this really beautiful baby shower and all these amazing things. And then like 2 years or a year later, they divorced. And it's because they was probably on two different pages. Somebody signed up to be married, and somebody signed up to have a live-in F-buddy. So you got to make sure that you're having those open and honest conversations with the people that you're entering relationships with. And if they walk away, that's okay. Just like I said a while ago, you're not going to run out of being you. Just be you and be confident in who you are and what you bring to the table. And if they can't match you, go fish. I'll try again. So
I like that card game. Go fish. It's one of my favorites.
there is a soft sensitive side of me.
It is.
It really is. I'm a really sweet, genuine person, believe it or not.
Where?
It's there. You're looking at me. It's like face value. I really, 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 and I'm not saying this to loosen up anybody's screws, but soul ties is bullshit.
You done woke the baby up with this shit.
You know what, Veronica? That's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I have nothing else to say because that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love y'all. This is the 7th episode. Please comment below on how hypocritical Adanya is in her responses because she needs to know.
No, don't
She
come.
needs to know.
She
needs to know.
Response for every last one of you.
Thank y'all so much. We love y'all. Peace out. Bye.